Do you see all this white mold? This looks like yeast to me.
Forget about sustainability. You want to enrich ecosystems.
Every being is equipped to live a positive, energetic balance.
Keep it pruned.
We are cultivating abundance.
Not a problem to cut down trees. The problem is not planting them. What is up, YouTube? Welcome to the Agroforestry Academy channel. Today I'm going to show you how to collect microorganisms from forests in order to add them to your system. So we all know that microorganisms play a major important role in soil and plant health. Actually, plants depend on microorganisms in order to live a healthy life, just as we do. Our guts are filled with microorganisms, and they're the ones who actually do most of the digestion for us and the release of all the nutrients into our bodies. And plants are just the same. So microorganisms, although most people tend to think of them as something bad, and people are actually afraid of microorganisms because they cause disease, but actually most of the microorganisms do not cause disease, and most of the ones that cause disease in plants, they actually have a beneficial role in the soil where they decompose organic matter. And very often when a bacteria or a fungi or a fungus attacks a plant, it's because the plant is already lacking some nutrients, and then the plant's tissue is not well built. So it's as if the plant's tissue is already in a process of degradation. And what the microorganism does is to identify a tissue in decomposition, and then it attacks it, because that's the microorganism's job. Its role is to decompose organic matter. So in order to increase the speed in which we recover ecosystems, in which we enrich our fields, it's always a good idea to go to a place that where there are more trees, where there's a bit of a forest, where the soil is very well covered with litter of leaves and all that, and we can actually we can collect some microorganisms, and then using a method for multiplying them, we can then spray them on our fields in order to inoculate the fields with these beneficial microorganisms. And of course, once we do that, our soil needs to be well covered. We need to take good care of the soil where we put the microorganisms, because if we take them out of this shaded, well covered soil and put them in a bare, hot soil, they will just immediately die, and all of the work will be in vain. So what do we need to collect these microorganisms? It's a fairly simple process. This is what we need. This is just a small bag filled with cassava, with shredded cassava. That's very simple. People usually use rice. I use cassava because I produce cassava. So this is just a nursery screen. I just cut a square piece. I got raw cassava, just put it in a food processor, shredded it to pieces, and then put it in here, all of it, the whole cassava, and with its skin and everything. And I'm gonna bury this in the forest litter, and in a couple of weeks it will be colonized by bacteria and fungi, and then I will multiply them in water with sugar, and then I will harvest them and pulverize them on my plants and my soil. So it's very simple, very straightforward. Let me change this camera. There you go. Here's the forest soil. I've got 3 of those. you don't want to bury them in the soil, you want to bury them in the organic matter. Okay. So, okay. There you go. Took away all of the organic matter. Look, this soil is pretty rich. It's filled with roots from this oil palm tree. And it's good. It's got a good smell, meaning it is filled with microorganisms, because microorganisms give soil smell. I'm just gonna put this here and bring back the organic matter to cover it. Lots of people use bamboo. It's recommended to use bamboo, so they split the bamboo in half and put the rice in, and then cover it with a screen. I just find it so much easier to do these little screen bags. It's just so much faster, and it's easier to tie them. You need to cover it very well, because if animals find it, they will destroy your little bag in order to eat the food. So once I did this, I really need to mark the spot. I need to put a stick here so that it's easy to find later on, because I've lost countless of these little bags because I did not put a mark on them properly. So I'm just gonna get this one of these palm leaves. These oil palm leaves, they've got these nasty prick-like structures from the leftovers of the trees, of the leaves. Okay, so nice little stick, and I'm just going to stick it in to make sure I can easily find it when I come searching for it after a couple of days. So it's been 6 days since the little bags have been sitting here, and I'm still gonna leave it for another week or so, but check it out. It's already fully colonized. Can you see the white mold? And you won't believe it, but this smells great. It smells like forest soil. It smells like shimeji. It smells like shiitake mushroom. It's just delicious. You really feel like you want to eat it. And yeah, I'm not gonna open it because I use just a banana fiber to close it. So if I open it, I might damage the knot. So I'll just put it back again, and let's wait a few more days, and then we will prepare our microorganisms inoculator.
All right, so let's take a look and see what we have captured around here. It's been between 15 and 20 days that I left these little bags in the field, right, in the woods, and we're gonna see what we have captured. Let's see if the microorganisms liked my cassava or not. Let's do one by one. I'm gonna get a small pot so that we can put the microorganisms there. Oh yeah, it smells pretty good. It is kind of dry now because I actually harvested it yesterday. Look at that. This is pretty beautiful. Do you see all this white mold? This looks like yeast to me. I might be wrong, but it looks like it. It's interesting that I got almost no green and no orange, no pink mold. Now, what people recommend is that you discard any black molds. So you see this part of the black mold I'm not going to use. They say that black mold should be used for compost piles and not so much for, I thought there was a bug here, and not so much for yeah, see? Oh, I've got a lot of mold here, white mold. So the dark mold should be used for compost piles and not for direct use on the soil or on the plants. For direct use, we should use the white ones and the light colored ones. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now I want to multiply them and turn them into a liquid. So I'm gonna scrape a bit of this white mold that I have. I'm gonna put them inside plastic bottles and I'm gonna feed them with brown sugar and water. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna just scrape here a bit of this mold. It smells good. Okay, this should smell good. If it smells bad, there's something wrong. It should have a shiitake-like smell. It's completely different than a cassava that has gone bad. You know, if you leave cassava out in the, just out, and it's gonna rot, right? It's gonna smell really bad. Okay, this black part I'm gonna discard. Then over here, let's find some more of the white stuff. Oh yeah, lots of the white stuff here. This is also a bit of like creamy in color. That's good. So yeah, if it smells bad, just throw it out. It should smell either like cheese, like kombucha, or like shiitake. That's what you're aiming for. I've got some pinkish one here, right here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Yeah. Okay. I got enough, so I'm gonna take this out, clean up the working space a bit. I'm gonna put them here in these bottles. Of course, one of the bottles is bigger, so I'm gonna put most of the material here. Now I'm gonna feed these babies with some brown sugar, like the Rolling Stones wisely said, brown sugar, how come you taste so good? But I think we were talking about something else, but who am I to say? Right, you want to use 200 grams of brown sugar per liter of water. Okay, so I've got this is half a liter, and this is 1 liter and a half. So if you know how to add up, you will realize that I'm gonna be needing 100 grams for the small bottle and 300 grams for the big bottle. I think that's gonna be like probably a cup for the small bottle or something like that. Once this is done, and it's still going to take some 15 days or so for it to be ready, as I need to leave it to ferment, I'm going to dilute it in huge quantities of water and spray it on the plants and on the field. So the idea is that before planting, when I'm starting a new area, I'm going to spray this on the soil before planting, and later spray it directly on the plants, as this will maintain a healthy colonized soil. Even on the surface of the plants, you want to have good bacteria, good fungi to protect your plants from the bad guys, which are not really all that bad. You know, they're just performing a function. So this is all to stimulate a healthy microlife in your ecosystem as a whole. It's much like, you know how some people, okay, this is clogged up. You know how some people need to do like, I don't know how you call them, things, microflora transfusion. You know, you need to get bacteria from somebody healthy so that they can colonize their intestines with the healthy guys, the healthy bacteria, the good bacteria and the good fungi, good yeast. It's pretty much the same thing. You know, I'm getting degraded land and we're getting microorganisms from a healthier place, and you know, just making sure to colonize the field. But then one thing is important: you can't do this on bare field. It makes no sense to do this and then plant a monoculture, because then you're creating an environment, like you're using healthy microorganisms to feed an unhealthy ecosystem. And although you will have results, you will become dependent on these microorganisms because they will be unable to thrive and keep on living by themselves independently from you because you're not creating a healthy ecosystem. So now to the water. And for that, I'm going to need the funnel again. This is a terrible angle that I gave you guys. Sorry for that. It's best to use water without chlorine, so I'm using mineral water because I'm not gonna fill it up to the brim. Well, you know, chlorine kills microorganisms, and we're trying to create microorganisms. Although I have done fermentation with chlorinated water, it's just not the best thing, right? I'm not going to fill it up to the brim just yet because I want to shake it a bit to make sure the sugar dissolves properly. And that is best done outside because you never know if it might explode. Okay, now I'm going to fill up the rest of the water. Just a little bit more here and a little bit more here. And there you go. Now we just let it sit, close tightly. You don't want it leaking. You will need to open the lid every couple of days in order to let the gas out. You could alternatively either use an airlock valve or just create one, you know, with a little hose inside a glass of water. You know, the gas is going to come out, but oxygen will not come in. I don't have that material here right now, so I'm just going to do it the simple way. Just open the lid every couple of days. I'll be putting them here right close, you know, on my sink, right close to my araçá cuttings, which I'm trying to get to root. This is a pretty interesting species of araçá that I found. Araçá is a close relative of guava, but it's there are many different species of araçá in Brazil, but I found this, which is a huge tree, which I had never seen such a huge araçá before. This one was probably 12 meters tall and it was this thick. So I just got some cuttings and I'm trying to get them to take root. So now we're gonna wait for the microorganisms to be ready. I'm gonna give them 15 days, opening the lid every now and then to let the gas out. Once the gas has stopped being produced, they're ready to be diluted in water and pulverized on the plants. Let's pulverize microorganisms, not agrochemicals. It's been 60 days and only now that my microorganisms are ready. It took a lot longer than expected, but finally there is no gas being produced anymore, and that means that they're ready to use. So today we're going to be applying the microorganisms to the field, which is going to be pretty exciting. So I've got my back sprayer here, and I'm going to talk a bit about the concentration of the solution. So this buddy here has 20 liters of water, and you want to do 0.1% of concentration. Okay, so if it's 20 liters of water, that means I'm going to be using 20 ml, right? 20 milliliters of my microorganisms. So this little buddy here has 10, so I'm going to put 2 of those in here. So you can see that it's very diluted. It smells quite good. There's a filter here, obviously. You don't want to get any particles inside your sprayer, otherwise it's going to clog up the sprayer. So 1 and 2. There you go. So you can see this is going to last quite a long time. I've got 2 of these bottles, and I just like to point out the importance of letting the gas go every day or every couple of days. Now, I actually had an accident. You can check it out, but once in the very beginning of the fermentation process, I left it 4 days without releasing the gas, and well, see it for yourself what happened. So you can see it's quite dangerous actually. This could have hurt me. But another option is to use a valve. You know, if you have a valve, one of those that people use for beer production, or you can just, you know, you can stick a hose inside the lid and then put the other end of the hose inside a bottle with water, and that will prevent gas from coming in but will allow the gas to go out. So that's another possibility. I'm going to go right ahead and take the opportunity that I'm already doing this, that I'm going to be spraying, and I'm going to apply some boron to the field as well, because our soils are very poor in boron, so it is an opportunity to start adding a bit of it to the soil. So this one uses the same concentration of 0.1%. Okay, it's 100 ml per 100 liters of water, 100 to 200 ml. So, you know, 0.1 to 0.2%. I'm going to use the same lid to apply boron. So let's add this to the mix. There you go. That's 1. That's 20 ml. I'm actually going to add 40 ml, do it 0.2%. That's the maximum concentration. But since it's the first application, I'm gonna do that. And then what's gonna happen is that I'm gonna be spraying new fields every week, probably until until the 4th week, and then I'll just apply it once a month. And probably when the pineapples are flowering, I'm gonna apply it once more with boron, to aid the flowering process. I'm gonna be using one of these, like 20 liters for every 150 to 300 square meters. It's going to be the amount I'm going to use. Probably now in the beginning, I'm going to be using a bit more, probably closer to like 20 liters per 150 square meters. And then in the future, as plants are already established, I'm going to start using a bit less. So probably one of these per 300 square meters. So an alternative to spraying with a bag sprayer, and actually a more efficient way to do it, is if you have a water tank which you use to irrigate, you can apply the microorganisms, and if you're doing boron, you can also apply it to the water tank in the proper solution, and then irrigate through with a sprinkler system. So that would be a much better option, but currently my irrigation system doesn't allow for that, so I'll probably be tweaking it in order to be able to do that in the future, and of course save a lot of my time. After all, it was about 30 minutes to spray the 300 square meters, so that's it's a significant amount of time when you have larger areas. So I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Here's a link to our Patreon community if you wish to join us. There's some more information going on there. You're going to be able to participate in Q&As and some other goodies. So I thank you for watching, and I'm Felipe for the Agroforestry Academy. I'm signing out.